In the wild, pulsing heart of Argentine football, some players seem destined from birth to carry a sacred mission. Enzo Fernández is one of them. From the dusty backstreets of San Martín to the grandest stage of them all, the World Cup, Enzo has always carried the game in his veins. Football wasn't just a passion in his household, it was a legacy. His name, Enzo, wasn't chosen by chance. His father, a devoted River Plate supporter and admirer of Uruguayan legend Enzo Francescoli, named him with intention, with hope. It was a prophecy whispered at birth. This boy was born to shine. That dream, passed down like a family heirloom, came alive on scorching asphalt roads, where a young Enzo would chase a worn-out ball against cracked walls and graffiti-stained alleyways. From an early age, Enzo was thrown into the fire of Argentine football's fierce demands. At just 5 years old, he joined River Plate's famed youth academy after a short stint with local side club La Recova. It was there, among the drills and discipline, that he began to shape his identity, not just as a footballer, but as a fighter. There was a time when people doubted him. Too small, they said, not strong enough for the top level. But Enzo never let the noise distract him. Instead, he doubled down, working harder, growing sharper, and pushing himself beyond limits. In 2020, during a loan spell at Defensa y Justicia, his determination paid off. Alongside his teammates, Enzo lifted the Copa Sudamericana, the first continental title of his young career. A milestone, yes, but only the beginning. When he returned to River Plate, Enzo was no longer just a promising talent. Under manager Marcelo Gallardo, he quickly became the beating heart of the midfield. Calm beyond his years, Enzo dictated the tempo of matches with the poise of a seasoned veteran. He didn't just play the game, he read it, understood it, mastered it. Gallardo saw more than just a gifted youngster. He saw a future leader, and he trusted Enzo enough to hand him the keys to River's midfield, long before most players would even dream of such responsibility. That trust said everything. It wasn't just about talent, it was about character, about resilience, about a young man who carried a city, a club, and a dream on his back, and never once looked like he'd break. Before the world met Enzo in Qatar, he had already been quietly building something special, step by step, without fanfare, without shortcuts. From a boy named after a legend to a man forged by hardship and doubt, Enzo Fernández never feared the grind. And that foundation, that relentless climb, it built a future world champion. Becoming a World Cup winner at 21 isn't something that just happens. For Enzo, it was the result of bold choices, perfect timing, and a fearless spirit that never blinked in the face of adversity. 2 months before the 2022 World Cup kicked off, Enzo wasn't even a guaranteed name on Argentina's roster. When the squad was announced, most saw him as a backup, just another option behind the established names like Paredes or Guido Rodriguez. But setbacks for Enzo have always been launch pads. Everything changed on a tense November night in Lusail. Argentina were on the brink, reeling from that shocking loss to Saudi Arabia. The match against Mexico became a do-or-die showdown, and Enzo was thrown into the mix, a gamble, some thought. But in the 86th minute, he picked up a pass from Messi, spun past Eric Gutierrez, and curled in a thunderbolt that cut through the pressure like an arrow through air. That goal wasn't just beautiful, it was symbolic. Enzo had arrived and he wasn't going anywhere. From that moment on, the trust was his. He started against Poland, played every minute against Australia, the Netherlands, Croatia, and then France in that heart-stopping 120-minute final. Match after match, Enzo was Argentina's engine, measuring the rhythm, reclaiming possession, breaking lines, and making space for the magicians up front. While Messi dazzled, Enzo did the dirty work in silence, cleaning the lanes, connecting the play. And in the final, under the blinding lights of Lusail, where all eyes were fixed on Messi and Mbappe, Enzo delivered a masterclass in midfield control. 118 touches, 77 accurate passes, 10 successful tackles. That's not a kid riding the wave of a dream. That's a player built for the biggest stage. They'll talk about Di Maria's volley, about the penalty shootout drama, about Messi's genius. But Enzo, he was the thread that held everything together. From minute 1 to minute 120, He never missed a beat. When France surged back 2-2, then 3-3, Enzo didn't panic. He didn't fade. He held the center like an anchor in a storm. His reward? The best young player of the tournament. A fitting recognition for someone who transformed from squad filler to midfield pillar. Jude Bellingham got the headlines. Gavi was hailed a prodigy. But Enzo kept Argentina's heart beating. After the final whistle, Lionel Messi pulled him into a tight embrace. No words needed. Messi knew. He knew better than anyone. Enzo was irreplaceable. Without him, that campaign might have ended after match day 1. With him, Argentina found balance again. They found their pulse, and they found a champion for the next generation. From the moment he set foot in Europe, Enzo Fernández made sure the spotlight found him. In the summer of 2022, Benfica signed him for €12 million. Just 6 months later, Chelsea came knocking with a staggering €121 million offer, a transfer that stunned European football, not just for its price tag, but for how fast Enzo had risen. When he left Lisbon for London, many said Chelsea were gambling. In reality, they were signing a man addicted to pressure. On his very first day at Stamford Bridge, Enzo walked onto the pitch with a calm that didn't match the chaos around him. Chelsea were in freefall, changing managers, lacking direction, sitting 12th in the Premier League. The locker room was fractured, the identity lost. And yet, into the middle of this storm stepped a 21-year-old from Argentina, asked to steady the ship, control the tempo, and glue the entire system back together. Through it all, Enzo didn't flinch. He wore the pressure like armor. Then came the 2023-24 season. Mauricio Pochettino arrived. A rebuild began, and right in the heart of it stood Enzo. The number 8 on his back echoed the old-school midfield generals. Tough, technical, relentless. Pressure. For Enzo, pressure is fuel. But it wasn't just on the pitch where his character would be tested. In July 2024, fresh off lifting the Copa America with Argentina, a video surfaced. It showed Enzo and several teammates singing a racist chant aimed at the French national team. The clip exploded online. Chelsea launched an internal investigation. Enzo was forced to apologize. On Instagram, he wrote, "I now realize the song included offensive language. That's not who I am." The backlash was swift. The shine of a champion had dulled. Suddenly, Enzo wasn't just a midfield maestro, he was a controversy magnet. But he didn't hide. He didn't run. He kept playing, kept controlling games. In fact, his performances improved in the storm that followed. Then came October 2024, and the headlines returned. This time, it was personal. Enzo and his longtime partner, Valentina Cervantes, the childhood sweetheart who'd been with him since his street football days, announced their separation. They had 2 young children together. On Instagram, Valentina wrote, "We will always be a family for our children." The media had a field day. Whispers of lost focus, crumbling maturity, fame and loneliness swirled. But Enzo? Still no statement, no interviews, just football. And by the end of that roller coaster season came a twist nobody expected. Chelsea won the UEFA Conference League. Even more shocking, they clinched a top 4 finish and a spot in the Champions League. For some clubs, a Conference League title might feel like a consolation. But for Chelsea, during a turbulent rebuild, it was something more. It was a beginning. Winning the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, while still a team under construction, was the clearest proof yet of Chelsea's growing identity. And at the heart of it all stood Enzo Fernández. The calm, the chaos, the madness, it all ran through him. No one thought Chelsea could beat Paris Saint-Germain. Not after PSG had dismantled both Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. No one believed this young, undefined, still fragile team could conquer the most prestigious club tournament on earth. But they did, because they had Enzo. He didn't just play well, he led the tournament in assists with 3. His passing accuracy hit 85%. But more than stats, Enzo brought something deeper. He brought the spirit of a World Cup winner, something no one else in this Chelsea side had. Pedro Neto said it best. He's a leader, a guide for us, in how he plays and how he carries himself. Moises Caicedo echoed the same sentiment. Now I understand why he's a world champion. He's owning the captain's role. And Enzo's father, Raul, could feel the shift too. He's already won so much at such a young age. I truly believe this Chelsea side will go far, and Enzo is the reason why." There was a moment after the final whistle when Enzo gently tapped Reece James's chest and bowed his head. A small gesture, but symbolic. The torch had been passed. Enzo wasn't just part of Chelsea anymore. He was Chelsea. He was no longer the rising star who exploded quietly in Qatar 2022. He was now a real captain, a man who embraced pressure not as a burden, but as destiny. The Club World Cup title isn't just a trophy for Chelsea, it's a milestone, a turning point, the first true reward in a long, painful rebuild. And if you needed a single image to capture that hunger, that fire, that unshakable belief, it was Enzo's eyes burning with purpose in that 3-0 demolition of PSG. Those were the eyes of a warrior, unafraid of pressure, unafraid of ghosts from the past, ready to rebuild glory brick by brick, with his feet and with his ice-cold mind. Chelsea weren't the favorites, they weren't the best squad on paper, but they had Enzo, and sometimes that's all it takes. Because championship DNA, sometimes it lives in just one man.